Hello, everybody, and welcome to Authority Marketing Live. I'm Melanie Hirschhorn, book marketing strategist. I like to say that I bridge the gap between publishing and publicity because I help authors create their online presence so that they can become known for what it is that they do, sell more books, speak on stages, and so much more. And I'm so excited because today I have a very special guest who I haven't seen in a while. And so we were kind of catching up and chatting about dogs and all the things. And so her name is Lisa Hammett, and she is a success coach, and she's written this new book that is available for pre-order only. But you could probably get yourself a copy because you're watching today. So I'm going to bring her on right now. Hello, Lisa. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm so happy to see you. And your
Great to
dog
see
is
you.
taken care of. My dog is taken care of. No dog interventions here. Okay.
Right.
So why don't we start by talking about, I guess we can start by talking about your book. So your book is called From Burnout to Best Life. Now,
Yes.
I wonder, is this a bit of a personal tale? Did you ever
Yes.
experience it? And now you're living your best life. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. So I spent 26 years in the corporate retailing world and I reached burnout. And if you've ever gone through burnout, any of the viewers, it's like hitting a wall and you're just done. You can't spend another minute in that current situation. So I left the industry and I actually started my wellness journey because a part of burnout was a bunch of weight gain and unhealthy practices. So I lost 65 pounds and then I started health coaching for a global wellness company, and I still do that very part time. But during the pandemic, I was also in the direct selling space, and the company that I was working for at the time closed its doors. So I decided to incorporate the life coaching piece into my coaching practice. And then everything just kind of started to come together. So the book integrates my journey of reaching burnout and then moving past it, but it also gives a lot of practical tips for people who might just don't feel their best, they need to get healthy, or maybe they just are thinking of going into a different career or transitioning just into something else, a different phase in their life. And how do they create that vision? What's their why, and how does that then migrate into sustainable goals and so forth. So that's kind of the whole book in the nutshell, and me.
I love it. I love it. And you mentioned to me before we started that there's also a workbook that goes along with it. So when people purchase the book, they have the opportunity to kind of implement the things as they go, right?
Yes. Yes, there is a downloadable workbook. And if you do go to my website, there I have a link on my website for the book, and you can pre-order it through Amazon or Barnes and Noble, and then you'll also see a link once you pre-order it for the downloadable workbook. Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so and right here is how you get to Lisa's website. And
Yes.
Lisa also has some really cool freebies on there. So while you're there, don't
Yes.
just spend 3 seconds and leave. Like do some good reconnaissance and find the freebies, buy the book, and all the things. So I
Yes.
want to go back to burnout because
Mhm.
it's something that, I've been hearing a lot more lately, that word burnout, what's burnout? But you said something that just literally took me back. When that happens, when you hear something that, when you
Yes.
said hit a wall and you can't spend one more minute. And I have not hit burnout that many times in my life, but I can recall two right this second where that was it, at
Mhm.
the end, and I was eating to survive what I
Mhm.
was going through. And then there's that piece where you make that decision that you're done.
Mhm.
And that's almost like this feeling of, it's relief, but it can also be scary.
Very.
And I'd love to hear, a little bit about a little wisdom from you about that moment.
Well, this integrates into a TED Talk that I recently did, actually, and how yes, when we're at that burnout stage, we tend to make a drastic decision in a moment of desperation because, like we mentioned, you hit a wall and you're done. So at that point, gosh forbid if you were in a marriage, you just suddenly say, I have to get divorced, or I have to quit my job, or, I have to do this huge change that, maybe those changes need to occur, but they need to be more thoughtful in the approach of how you go through the transition, or, work to improve the situation, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
So that is really ideally what I like to do when I help people, is if I can get to them before they hit burnout, because then we're kind of doing damage control, and you can move past it. You
Yeah.
can, but it is much more painful and difficult to come through.
Mhm.
So the TEDx talk that I had previously mentioned, it is on TEDx.com. So you can
Woo!
Google my name.
Yay!
Um, I walk the audience through this using mental fitness, which can help you manage stress in the moment and other negative emotions as well. So that if you feel like you're kind of getting towards that burnout stage, here's a way that you can start managing it, and hopefully prevent the burnout.
Right, because it's like you said, that wall. It's like you're crashing, like you're going 60 miles an hour, and you hit a wall, and
Yes.
and it's coming on too. I
Mhm.
mean, a personal example is my former business. I could not open the door to my office in my house anymore. I couldn't
Oh,
even
wow.
face going into the room. So
Mm, that's hard.
it was not a fun time in my life.
No. You just don't wish it on anybody. It's a terrible place to be. Not only oftentimes physically, because we don't take care of ourselves when we get to that point, but emotionally. I mean, we're just completely spent. We just don't have any mental capacity. And, it's really hard to see beyond the current situation.
It is.
So,
It's like you're a raw nerve.
mhm,
Now, not to
yes.
belabor this, because let's talk about the positive, because we talked about burnout. Now let's
Right.
go to our best life.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me about your best life. No, I'm kidding. Um, how how long can somebody expect the process to take to really start feeling like they're now I really am where I'm meant to be and doing what it makes me happy and technically living my best life, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a really great question, and I'm going to kind of answer it.
Okay, only partially answer it.
Yeah, I know. Well, the reason is everybody transitions differently, so I can't say that there is like this complete recipe that, oh, within X amount of time this is going to happen. But, if you are working with somebody, it could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be family member, some kind of support system that you have, if you're starting to implement positive steps, I mean, within the first month, you're going to start to feel better in certain areas of your life. And really the first part is just to gain some clarity. It's like, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is where I want to go. You may not know exactly all the steps to get there yet, but you should have definitely within that first month. And it may, if you're, an overachiever and really motivated, it might be sooner than that. But when you're formulating a vision of what you want for the future, it's a process. It's not like you just snap your fingers and just go, oh yeah, here it is, poof. And when I say a vision, it's not, oh, I want to make more money, oh, I want a nicer house. No, I want you to really visualize what your life is going to be like, and how is it going to feel? How are you physically and emotionally going to feel? Where are you going to be? I mean, physically plant yourself in a situation. Close your eyes. Are you on a beach? Do you feel the ocean air? Do you smell the sea? Do you, or are you in the mountains? Whatever it is, but it's a whole visualization process and it takes time to get there. So I would say that month, clarity for sure. It might be a little sooner. And then, if it's going to involve exiting a relationship
Or a
or
job.
repairing or a job or repairing both or either, then, there's a lot of steps that go into that, really kind of digging deep, looking at what has happened in the past. And oftentimes, a lot of these issues reside from situations when we were much younger. And that situation, either with our family or parents, or maybe it was somebody in school, a teacher, or, mentor situation, those shape a lot of the situations where we are currently. So it's kind of unpeeling that onion, so to speak.
So, so because of that, then that's
Mhm.
probably the reason that we shouldn't do this alone. That we
No.
do need to find a trusted advisor of some sort. Because
Yes.
you can't, as much as you want to have distance from yourself, you have to schlep yourself along with you everywhere you go.
That's so true. And there are so many great self-improvement books out there. And, you can read, you could be a voracious reader and you can gain a lot from reading, but it's not the same thing as actually being accountable to an individual. And oftentimes it should be an objective third party, that you're not as close to, because sometimes somebody that you're close to could maybe be triggering certain situations, or they may not be as objective. And it is really helpful to have that objective third party to kind of help you through the process.
Well, let's talk about, marketing. How have you been marketing your book so far and how's it going?
It's going great. So I had a book signing that it was a week ago, and it just was unbelievable. I did an Eventbrite invitation and just blasted it all over social media. I literally texted all my connections. I didn't spam them. I texted them once. All of my connections in my phone and told them about it. And we had like, gosh, I want to say like 75 people there. It was pretty awesome. And I sold with that, and with pre-orders, I sold all the books. So
Yay!
that was pretty exciting. And then I'm just trying to get on as many podcasts, I mean, like this,
Mhm.
just to get the word out and have conversations about all different kinds of things. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to stress and burnout, but had a live today with somebody about money and how money can just really mess with our head depending upon how we were raised and what our thoughts are about money, and how often we tie it to our self-worth, which should never happen, but it does, and how dysfunctional that is. So that goes into the whole mindset piece and how it can impact your success. So that's just a random example. And then I talk about self-care a lot. So there's all different kinds of things. So really just getting out there and talking, and my TEDx was a great way to also market. And so that's what I'm focusing on right now, kind of organic.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that so much. And so, that really goes with something that happened this week that really frustrated me because I was talking to an author who decided that she'd rather not market her book.
Why?
Right, thank you.
I don't understand. It's okay, maybe that's insensitive, but if you
No, but
pour
that was my
so much time and energy into creating this beautiful book, why don't you want to share it with people?
and that was my sentiment exactly. And
Yeah.
so I just want to remind the viewers, if you have a book, you should tell people about it because then you can share your message, just like Lisa is sharing this message. Just think how many people, Lisa, you are going to help with your book. Untold hundreds, thousands, who knows? So just keep on sharing it. And thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you joining us. I'm
Thank
going to
you.
post your Website
Website
right
again?
there. There it is. That's where you can get all the great
That
stuff.
thing over. Oops,
Woo!
I'm doing it.
I know it's backwards in
It's
StreamYard.
backwards. There we go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Oh, I
And
loved it. It was great. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, everybody. So you can now go here, you can go to that site and you can grab Lisa's book and you can get the pre-order and all the great stuff that comes along with it. And I also want to remind you about the VIP digital.live/amplify. That is the Amplify Your Authority program. It is an on-demand go at your own pace program to help you market your book, because if what Lisa said was so true, it's like, why wouldn't you want to market the book that you work so hard to create? So thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you have